Today we are talking about your favorite WrestleMania matches that you comment on both my TikTok and my Instagram. If you haven't already, follow those down below. I am Ain the Chong, and today we're going to talk about these matches. I'm going to try to rate them a little bit. I'm not going to go super in depth with each story because you've probably seen a lot of these matches, but we're going to talk about them. I'll give you my opinion if they're a great match or not, and we'll see where it goes from there. So the first match we have here is the Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania 39 goes Hollywood. And I remember I was with my buddies up in Plattsburgh watching this match, and this is a really fun match. I thought this match really revolutionized tag team wrestling due to the fact that it was the first ever tag title match to main event a WrestleMania. It might be the only tag match to ever main event a WrestleMania. I mean, at least in the near future, because I don't see it happening anytime soon. Technically, last year we had a regular tag match, but for the tag team championships, the way Kevin Owens, Sami, and Usos elevated those titles to the main event slot was done phenomenally. These guys put everything they had out there. All four men put on a phenomenal performance, worthy of a main event. And this is on a card that had matches like Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley, which most people would be like, damn, I don't know if they're going to be able to follow that. And they very much were able to. The story was there. The in-ring match was there. The drama, you had it all. And I thought this match was definitely a 5-star match. You know, I'm not going by Meltzer's, I'm going with my own opinion. And it was definitely a 5-star match if we're looking at it like that, because it was perfect. The way it was done, it was a great way to end WrestleMania Night 1. One of the best nights of WrestleMania ever, by the way. But yeah, I thought this match was great, and this is a good one that you guys are commenting. I've seen actually a handful of comments about this match specifically, so go ahead and start off the video. Next, we have Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton versus Batista, and I'm going to link this with two matches. I'm going to put the Triple H and Daniel Bryan match as well as the Triple Threat match, because one led into the other, and I've seen some comments about the Triple H and Daniel Bryan match, which was, I was watching this match last night, Triple H and Daniel Bryan opening the show, and man, it holds up, because even though Triple H was a couple years outside of his prime and he was doing a lot more of the corporate stuff, this man, with Daniel Bryan, of course, being one of, if not the best wrestlers in the world at that point, literally put on a masterclass. These guys were going back and forth, so much technical wrestling, a lot more from Triple H than you would imagine, and I just thought it was super fun, especially this match had so many different things going for it. Daniel Bryan being the most popular guy in the company, working with a guy like Triple H, it was going to be magic from the start, and it very much was. This match was like 25 minutes, I'd like to say. At points, it felt like it was dragging, but not in a bad way, if that makes sense. This match was genuinely really fun, and I'm very happy the way it turned out, obviously, and Daniel Bryan won the title. The only thing that really is upsetting is later in the Triple Threat, he did have a great match, which, you know, it doesn't sound bad. I'm not getting there. But Daniel Bryan, Batista, Randy Orton had a phenomenal Triple Threat. The way the drama was set up, Daniel Bryan, he kept getting attacked. He kept getting down. Then he would get up again. Then he got put on a stretcher. Then he would get up again. Then Triple H comes out, and then he got up again. Then the referee came to screw him. He got up again, and eventually he made Batista tap out, which was, I thought was crazy, the fact that he won on a submission move, because it was just like, damn, you'd figure he has him do a pin, you know, to make Batista look strong, but nah, Batista did him the work, and that was a phenomenal finish. The only issue I was having, like I said, was the fact that Daniel Bryan wasn't able to have a great reign after this, because I just felt like, obviously, it was such a great moment. You want to be able to capitalize on it, and I think Cody Rhodes did the same thing that Daniel Bryan wanted to do this past year, you know, with all his different title defenses. I think Cody Rhodes did exactly what I wish Daniel Bryan could have done, which is having a full year of great championship defenses, great championship matches, great feuds, and honestly becoming a real, true WWE champion in everyone's eyes, not just holding the belt, making the belt. And I really think that, you know, obviously this is one of the best moments of all time, and that's what we're talking about today. So as a match, it was amazing. Literally, another 5-star match, if we're asking me. Next match we have is Sami Zayn versus Gunther at WrestleMania 40, and I was there in person for this, so there's definitely going to be a little bit of bias here, but I thought this match, honestly, at the beginning, I wasn't really sold on this match, and I didn't think it was going to be anything too crazy, but obviously, as it went on, it was really fun, and Sami Zayn, he was getting his ass handed to him, but then at a point, you really thought, damn, he might overcome the odds. He might actually win this match. You never know. And then it was like, oh, shit, I think Gunther's going to retain, squash him. And then, nope, Gunther started talking shit to Sami Zayn's wife and the crowd, and then he came out, pulled out a brain buster, which we haven't seen in how many years? And then he hit the Helluva kick in the corner with a dramatic falling on Gunther for the 1, 2, 3, and man, bro, and everyone thought it should have been Chad Gable. I still think that should have been Chad Gable, but Sami Zayn made the best of the opportunity, and he did win the Intercontinental Championship, so you can't hate on that. You gotta put respect where respect is due, and yeah, Sami Zayn and Gunther had a great match, and this is coming from a guy who doesn't love Gunther matches, so take it as you will. Another Gunther match, we have Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre, and shit, man, I think this is a pretty solid match. Not as great as all y'all want to make it seem like, because I'm going to be honest, I think it's a little overrated. But it is a good match, so I'm not going to act like it's ass now. I think it was just around, 15 to 18 minutes. all these guys, hard hitting action. Everyone was getting chopped. Freaking punch here. And literally all these heavy hits from all three guys. My favorite part of the match was when Drew McIntyre and Sheamus were going back and forth, hitting both their finishes towards the end of the match. And then you got really good false finishes. And I thought, damn, Sheamus might win the title, but nope. Gunther comes out here out of nowhere, hits power bombs on both of them, beats the shit out of them, and gets the 1-2-3 decisively. And I was like, all right, man, guess we're sticking with this Gunther stuff. And at the time, I mean, I don't like Gunther now. I hated Gunther at this point. I don't know why. I just never really got with his character until very recently. So, like, it just pissed me off that he was getting such a long reign and Sheamus couldn't win the title. But overall, it was a good match. I think it's very good to put this up as one of the great matches of WrestleMania history. I do think that this match obviously will stand the test of time as a great match. And, people will respect it. And I definitely think if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. And for those who have seen it, go back and watch it anyway, because it is a fun match. But overall, I mean, if you're asking me, I'm probably giving it a 4.5 out of 5. That's just me, probably 4.75. I don't know. It didn't really hit the 5-star level, in my opinion, but if you say it's 5-star, I won't argue with it at all. One matches that you guys were talking about a lot was Stone Cold versus The Rock. Now, I'm going to make the executive decision here to talk about both the WrestleMania 19 and the WrestleMania 17 matches, because there's a couple that aren't super specific, but I thought those matches were fucking awesome, bro. The WrestleMania 17 match was a great match. Obviously, the peak of the Attitude Era, and which was the unofficial end of it, and I thought they represented it to perfection. Stone Cold, The Rock, two guys pretty much at the top of their game, peak popularity, and literally it was face versus face. Stone Cold was leaning towards the heel side, and he did eventually turn heel during this match with a little VKM. We don't like to talk about that, but Stone Cold, The Rock had amazing performance at WrestleMania 17, following their WrestleMania 15 main event, which was a solid match, nothing too special, but it got its job done. But WrestleMania 19 now, that's cinema. Perfect. You cannot create a better match. If you haven't seen this match, or you haven't seen it in a long time, go refresh yourselves. I saw it on YouTube last night. It still holds up, man. This match was awesome. The Rock, he was still in his prime. Stone Cold was definitely at the end of his career. I mean, literally was. It was his last technical match before the Kevin Owens thing about 15, 20 years later. But, like, literally, this match was just so fun because it had a little bit of elements from the first match, some elements from the second match, and you really put them together for this third match with the Hollywood Rock, the best version of the Rock, if you ask me, outside of the final boss, which is still kind of Hollywood Rock. So the best version of the Rock. Stone Cold was Stone Cold. You didn't really have to do too much, and this match really delivered, man. It was probably the best match on this card. Some people might say Shawn Michaels and Jericho, and I will respect it, or Angle and Lesnar. So it was definitely a stacked Mania, but definitely hits the 5-star mark for me. Underrated match: John Morrison, Jimmy Uso, and Kofi Kingston, WrestleMania 36 on the PC. It was a good match with a great finish. Yes, I do remember this match. This was a lot different than you would have expected because The Miz did get sick, and this was in the pandemic, so you had to really be precautious here, especially he has kids too. So you can't do a tag match without The Miz, and he's the champion. So you made a triple threat with 3 guys who really had a chip on their shoulder, I think, to perform well, and they all did. John Morrison, Kofi Kingston, Jimmy Uso. We all know that they're great wrestlers, but they really had to show out, shine out, and take over WrestleMania, because this was the one match that really was given the keys to steal the show, and I think it definitely did. Now, I don't know if you're gonna say it's the best match. I mean, from an in-ring perspective, I definitely think it's up there, and it quite possibly is the best match. Obviously, they had some of the cinematic matches, which might be better in your opinion, but I thought this match really held its own on this card. Jimmy Uso tore his ACL, and he still went all the way to the finish. They were using the ladders like really smart with these different spots, and I just thought it was like really cool to like actually just take the extra step and add detail to this match and make it something that I actually want to like watch and I can really get behind. And I really felt this match was strong, and obviously John Morrison, when he won, bringing about 2 belts, falling on the ladder, that was a great spot. I remember that. I was like, oh damn, probably fucked up, but nope, that's how the spot was planned, and it was ran to perfection. Great match, and like you said, underrated match. I don't think a lot of people talk about it. I think more people should definitely be talking about a match like this. Was blessed to see the Streak versus Career match live at WrestleMania 26. Chills. Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker at WrestleMania 26. I've seen a comment about their WrestleMania 25 match, which we'll combine it here, talking about them both. The WrestleMania 25 match, as we know, was supposed to be given like, what, 10 minutes? Maybe, I think it was 15 minutes. And it was like third match on the card, and Taker and Michaels were pissed because, again, this is prime, probably to peak Taker, peak HBK. I mean, with everything, all things considered, and it's like you're giving this third match 15. I believe they got 25 to 30 minutes after they got adjusted. They were the third to last match, which is a lot better of a spot than the first idea. And I really thought that, their first match delivered, bro. Like, I don't even think people expected it to be as good as it was. Taker and Michaels had a great legendary match at 97 Bad Blood where Kane made his debut. I think the only time they really touched after that was at 2007 at the Royal Rumble. They were the last two guys and they were going crazy for like 10 minutes. And then they started the Rumble 2008 and then they were building to this feud for a long time. And then we finally got it. And it was a really fun feud match between these two guys. Obviously, Taker was able to beat him and keep the streak going, which I don't think Shawn Michaels was ever the guy to beat the streak. Just at that point of his career, didn't need to do it. You didn't need to waste it. And it was great matches that he had. 25, it was like he was that close and he just couldn't do it. So WrestleMania 26 is like, if I'm that close, I could do it. And it was career versus streak. If he couldn't do it, he retired. And he stayed true to his word because he did not wrestle a single match after that. We don't count anything that, I don't know what you're talking about with this one. But Shawn Michaels, he had a storybook ending to his career, a phenomenal match with The Undertaker. Not as good as the 25 one from the in-ring technical perspective. However, with all things considered, I think this match really held its own compared to the WrestleMania 25 match, and it was still very, very phenomenal in its own way. Both matches, again, hand in hand, led to another match, which is Triple H versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 28. Now, we have to take a step back. Remember the WrestleMania 27 match, which I love that match. I might like it better than 20. Actually, that's a lie. But I like that 27 match a lot more than people want to admit. And I think that it really set the table perfectly for the end of an era because Triple H, he was this close, like his buddy Shawn was, but he just couldn't get the job done except with Shawn. Shawn was the one who barely walked out. Taker didn't even walk out. He was ashamed of himself. And then when he did all the cutting his hair gimmick, he, at WrestleMania, pulled up the hood, he's bald, and it's like, whoa. What did Triple H do to this man? And 50 minutes, I believe, with the entrances included as well. So like 30, 35-minute match. Bro, like for two guys at their ages, who didn't really have someone else to carry them, they had to do all the heavy lifting with Shawn Michaels, and they did a great job. The violence was good. The storytelling was good. The technical wrestling, I really enjoyed in this match. And obviously the end of an era was the end of an era. And it was built perfectly. And honestly, if all three of those guys retired like that, it would have been all right. Now, history doesn't play out like that, and I think that's okay because Triple H and Taker had a lot great matches after that. Not as many as before, but you still have great memories that you don't want to take away. I think Triple H's WrestleMania resume speaks for itself. He's had phenomenal match after phenomenal match after phenomenal match. There's been a stinker here and there, but for the most part, every single match WrestleMania that Triple H has been in, banger. Some people want me to mention the Bret Hart versus Stone Cold match at WrestleMania 13 that is being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And we're going to mention it real quick. I mean, everyone's seen the match. If you haven't, you need to check it out. This one really just made Stone Cold as big as he was because his growth was going crazy. But like with this match, it just went straight to the moon because, with that one shot where he was bleeding and he was trying to crawl the ropes, and it's like, damn, buddy, I'm going to pass out before I tap out to you because you ain't going to beat me. And it brought up the very famous and the very rare double turn. You rarely see double turns, especially ones that work that well. And that night, Steve entered the heel, Bret Hart was the babyface, and after the match, everything shifted. Fans were throwing some stuff at Bret Hart, spitting at him, cursing at him, getting all pissed and shit. And even though Bret Hart didn't win the match, it did a lot more for Stone Cold than anything could have done. And literally, this was his star shining performance. And you have to remember, this is before the neck injury. So Steve Austin, the way he was wrestling, bro, if he was able to wrestle his whole career like that and never got the neck injury, we might be talking a whole different conversation right now. Like, he was already the GOAT for a long time. And if you really add that much more technical ability without having to, rely on some of the same moves over and over again, just through the body, sky was the limit. Like, you literally can't make this up. Stone Cold might have been the best wrestler ever if he never got hurt and we got to see a larger body of work. But what we did see from Steve Austin before the injury speaks for itself. Great matches with Bret Hart. I believe he fought Shawn Michaels as well. Great matches all around. Macho Man and Steamboat, WrestleMania 3. All right, this is going to be the shortest one of them all. Seen it like once or twice. It's an all right match. Obviously you have to take the time period into consideration, and it is a good match. I definitely think it's one of the most famous matches that people probably have never seen, because if I ask you right now, have you seen Steamboat and Macho Man? What are you going to say? Probably not. I'm not really too sure what to explain to you guys about this match because, I mean, For those of you who've seen it, you know what happens. And for those of you who don't, you're probably not going to go watch it anyway. It was an all right match, you know. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat got the win, beat Macho Man. I thought, you know, obviously it was a really good match on a, I don't even know what kind of card. I remember Hogan and Andre the Giant. That's about it. So, great match on that card. I believe did it open Mania. I'm not positive. I think it might have, but again, that was a great match. And you know, just this match definitely still holds up, you know, in the current era. But I definitely think you have to look at it through a different perspective, because if you're comparing it to a match you see nowadays, it's not going to be close. But if you look at it with all things considered, this is a all-time classic, and you can't hate this match, man. You just can't hate it. Another match that people want to say they've watched, and they definitely have it. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12. I had the DVD for a long time ago, so I do remember watching it at some point, but like, I can't tell you the last time I've seen this match, and I'm not going to go back and watch it. I'm sorry. I don't need to watch a 1 hour Iron Man match between two guys who I've seen plenty of their matches together outside of this one that were great. So overall, you know, great match. A little bit overrated, because I definitely think that at points people were saying that it just dragged and did not need to be an hour, but you wanted to fill it up anyway because these two guys just could do that. But Shawn Michaels did get the win. The boyhood dream comes true. Holding the championship, one of the all-time classic pictures. It'll be somewhere here on the screen, and made the Heartbreak Kid the star he came out to be. And, you know, unfortunately he got hurt for a while, but he did come back and had a great second half of his career in the early 2000s. Rock and Hulk Hogan. Also in this comment is John Cena versus The Rock. And I'm going to put these two matches together because both were great for their own reasons. I thought that the Rock Hogan match as a match was ass. But with all the crowd going crazy, all the emotion, everything that built into it with the story, that is what carried this match. Hulk Hogan got to play the Hulk Hogan of old. He was hulking up, hit his big comeback, hit his move, and The Rock kicked out, and the crowd was like, whoa! And, you know, this was at a point where some of the fans were starting to turn on The Rock. Not all of them, not even close, but definitely a portion of the fans were starting to turn around, and they wanted to see their childhood hero Hulk Hogan win, and that did not happen, but it was a great match. The Rock got put over really well, and I thought this definitely did a good amount for The Rock. I mean, he was still obviously the man at that point, but beating Hulk Hogan, being a big name, just added to the resume. And as his career went on, I think he had a handful of matches after this in 2002, wrestled a couple times 2003, once in 2004, and then he came back in 2011. And at that point, 2011, 2012, he was a solidified star, which led us to John Cena versus The Rock. And this match was great for a different reason, not just because of the crowd and the story, but like, you didn't know if these two dudes genuinely hate each other. With Hogan and Rock, I never really felt that, you know, it's too personal. Cena was taking personal jabs at Dwayne. And I mean, he kind of had to, because The Rock, you know, he was scripting a whole bunch of stuff. And it made Cena look kind of weak. I'm not going to lie to you. And I'm happy with the fact that he was able to take a feud and make it a lot more serious. Because when you look at this feud and look at the promos that he did, all of the stuff that John Cena was saying and doing was not John Cena that you'd seen in previous years. That was not Super Cena. That was John Cena, the human being, similar to what you're seeing nowadays, but just more in a cocky heel way. And it was funny. I loved the way stuff he was doing. And he never officially turned heel, which I think could have been fun the way you went with it. But he did end up losing, and you had the big story. Oh, he's going to get the redemption. And should have been CM Punk, The Rock, and John Cena in the second match. But the 28 match is a classic, literally once in a lifetime feel. Even watching it back, even though you know what happened again, this match was just, man, the drama, the emotion. It's like, that's what we need. And that being on a card with a match like we were talking about before, end of an era, it might be a 2-match card. I mean, Punk Jericho was solid, but like, again, it might be really a 2-match card, and those 2 matches, you can't get much better than that. I haven't mentioned the women's match yet. We have Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha Banks. Now, this match, we all know it revolutionized women's wrestling forever. You saw so many different moves and things that you've never seen before from women's wrestling, because the Divas era for so long was just like, let's put half together matches. Not the wrestlers, but like the booking. It was like, we don't care. You'll put you on the pre-show. Nobody's going to watch. But these 3 women were given a prime spot on the WrestleMania card where they showed out and had the best match of the night. I mean, I'm not going to say there was big competition there, but they had match of the night by far, and it was awesome. And I'm not the biggest fan of Charlotte. I know she's talented and she has great matches. I hate her character work, but this night she was cooking. Becky Lynch was cooking, even though she wasn't nearly as over as Sasha and Charlotte just yet. she was still cooking. And Sasha Banks, I think she was probably the MVP of this match. She was going crazy with the A Guerrero inspired gear and moveset, paying homage to Big Eddie. And we love that because that was really fun. And I think that, when you see this match nowadays, it's like, wow, women's wrestling is dominated by these three women here. Bayley included, I would say. You can include other women, but I think the four horsewomen as an entirety are like a collection of women that you're going to look at forever and be like, damn, they really changed the game and made women's wrestling serious, bro. Some people are going to say the Bellas. That's just not the case. They were still the joke when they were wrestling. But this match was awesome. And for the women's championship, going away from the Divas title, I think really solidified that for the women and just made it feel so much more important than it was in previous years. You have the Hardys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys. Now, I don't want to talk too much about this match just because we all know how crazy it was. Bubba Ray Dudley has gone on to say that they did argue about the match and the way it was booked because there was the big table spot with Bubba and Matt, and there was the big spot with Edge doing the spear to Jeff Hardy. Now, I believe that they wanted to do the Bubba Ray and Matt spot first, then the Edge spear, but I think Bubba and others were like, no, let's do the Edge spot first, get the high spot of the match, and then the Bubba Matt stuff can really end the match. And that's ultimately what they went with, and I thought that was definitely the perfect decision. This match is amazing. It revolutionized TLC type matches, any weapons, tables, ladders, chairs, you name it. And these three tag teams will always be synonymous with each other forever. Two of them are in the Hall of Fame. The Hardys will join them at some point, and this was magic. Every single time they all touched, it was perfect. We also have Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Both matches, WrestleMania 39 and WrestleMania 40. I was at WrestleMania 40, so I definitely am a little bit biased here. But man, y'all seen that match. We know how great it was. Okay, guys, we're hitting the home stretch of matches here. People have commented both Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns matches from WrestleMania 39 and WrestleMania 40. Now, I love the way we entered the WrestleMania 39 match. It literally just felt like the perfect story. The way Cody and Roman didn't really interact a lot, in their first year. I mean, Cody was hurt for a lot of it, so you didn't really have to think about it. But when he won the Rumble, it was like, oh, there's only one champion, Cody Roman, and you built to it perfectly. You had a lot of great segments early on, and you might have been able to do just a little bit more, but I thought the way it was booked was awesome, and Cody Rhodes was still involved with the Usos as well because of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and him trying to get them to unite. So that definitely played a big role in this match and the whole story, and I'm not going to lie to you. I thought Cody Rhodes was going to win. I had no imagination in the world that Roman Reigns was going to retain the title on night 2. And I thought, hey, this is obviously a Cody Rhodes win. The reign's going to end. It was a great reign. He's held it for a couple of years. But they really let Roman Reigns win. And Solo Sikoa screwed him over. And I thought, that's not the way you're going to go about it. But that's what they ultimately decided to do. And I was like, okay, buddy, you want to do it? It's not bad. I mean, obviously, we saw the WrestleMania 40 match and how that went out, and I thought they definitely booked it well because both matches, just obviously played well off each other. The first match was like 34 minutes, I think, bell to bell, longest match in that Mania, and it was a great match. They both had chemistry. It didn't really feel awkward. It felt like, damn, these guys were wrestling week after week, but nah, first time they touched in this run of Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Now, the Bloodline Rules, the WrestleMania 40 match that I was there for, those 17 minutes at the end, where Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns were just going at it. Everyone was coming out to help save, try to help both of them win. And I was just like, yo, this is like freaking the Avengers and the ultimate ending of a movie. And like, bro, you got everyone here, there. Someone's coming out here. And it's like, bro, who's next? And I'm not going to lie to you. I thought Moxley was going to come out. I'll be honest with you. For a little bit, just for a second, I'm like, there's no way. Like, there's no way you're just going to get the Shield music to have just Seth Rollins. Like, and it was, and it's fine. Not just Seth Rollins, but you know what I mean? It's like you're getting the Shield out, like, are you getting Mox out here? I wish they did, but unfortunately he was sleeping halfway across the world. Apparently Tony might have let him do it, but it never got asked, and it was never even a consideration, so, what could have been? But this match obviously did. It was phenomenal. The Undertaker came out, which I heard that it was supposed to be Stone Cold who came out at the end, but Taker, I think, might have been a better choice, to be honest with you. Just the way everything was booked around and, like, Undertaker being the king of Mania. So it was perfect. And then Cody Rhodes got the win with the help of Seth Rollins because Roman was like, hit Cody, hit Seth, and his obsession with Seth, which actually led to their current match right now, which is going to main event night 1 of WrestleMania 41. And He hit Seth Rollins. Clear Rhodes got the win, finished the story. A huge pop. And he's had a good reign after the past year. I can't lie to you. Some parts of it, I really wanted him to lose. Like, I'm sorry, I just want Kevin Owens to beat him. I'm really hurt that he didn't beat him, but it is what it is. Cody has had a great run so far. I think it's going to come to an end at WrestleMania 41, but those two matches, 39 and 40, helped elevate him so much. And he is now like the marquee company guy. Like, he is the face of WWE. And I think that's really cool for him, especially for a guy who was painting his face and was a ripoff of Goldust, 10 years ago. So he's come a long way since then. Speaking of Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, we're going to talk about their cash in at WrestleMania 31. Now, this was a great match between Brock and Roman. These are all good matches. I haven't actually seen a bad... Okay, there's another bad match I see here, but we haven't seen a bad match yet. And Roman and Brock, the first time they wrestled, was awesome. Now, after that, I can't speak the same because most of the matches were kind of ass. It was very, very rinse and repeat over and over, doing the same shit in each individual match. But this match right here, they never touched before. Roman really got his big break in a big main event spot, and he delivered, man. He really, really delivered. And I'm very happy that he was able to do so because Roman Reigns, man, he's... at that point of his career, was underrated. Like, people like to hate because he couldn't cut a promo, and trust me, he couldn't cut shit. But his in-ring ability was great. I mean, he cooked with Daniel Bryan. Like, obviously, it's Daniel Bryan. He can make anyone look good. But Roman Reigns looked very, very good in the match he had with Bryan. And, I think, obviously, the match with Brock was a bit unique. It was a lot of the Brock style you see in the second run, but some of it wasn't. Some of it was, a little bit unique. Someone commented that it was a little bit of the Bret Hart style, and I kind of agree with it. I kind of understood, the little bit of slow, technical, let everything sink in, and I loved it so much. And then at the end, Roman looks like he's going to be able to beat Brock, but then Brock hits him with the F5. Both guys are down. It's like, oh shit, who's going to win? The heist of a century. Seth Rollins cashes in. He almost looked like he was going to lose, but then Roman Reigns spears Brock. He gets curb stomped. 1, 2, 3. The best cash of all time, and I don't think anything will ever beat that. This really made Seth Rollins one of the marquee faces of the WWE. He went on to have a great reign, and it capped off a great WrestleMania, man. That was one of the best Manias of all time, top to bottom, and Seth Rollins cashing in, literally, it's one of the biggest moments in WWE history, and you're going to see it forever. In any list you see, whether there's cash in, biggest pop, Mania moments, Seth Rollins is going to be on top, near the top of that list, because it was awesome. All right, this might be crazy hearing from me, but Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, WrestleMania 24. It was aight. I don't think it was anything too special now. Like, obviously, the story was fun. It's Shawn Michaels. Ric Flair, actually, he put on a good match for himself at this stage and this point of his career. He hadn't really put on any classics around that time period, but this match, I can definitely say, has that classic feel to it. Now, I definitely think, it wasn't the ideal, perfect WrestleMania match from Shawn Michaels or Ric Flair, but it was still a good match, and, obviously, if Ric Flair retired, it would have been the perfect ending, but we all know what happened. He damn sure did not retire after that, and he went on to wrestle time and time and time again, and it's just like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, how do you fuck it up like that? Like, you just had the perfect ending, and you screwed it up. I don't get it. Okay, one match I've seen here, and I kind of want to save it towards the end, was Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels. This might be the best WrestleMania match of all time. I'm not even gonna lie. This match was... there's no words I could really use to describe it. Like, these guys never wrestled. Both, I would say, were peaking, in their careers, with everything going on. Shawn Michaels, obviously, 96, he might have been a little bit better in the ring, but I think with the storytelling and the wise things that he had learned over the years, obviously with the experience, definitely made him a better wrestler. Mid-2005, and Kurt Angle, pound for pound, probably one of the best wrestlers ever. I mean, he won Olympic gold with a broken freaking neck. I know we hear it 100 million times, but he won that. And the technical stuff that Shawn and him were doing, which I thought Shawn was holding his own in this match, I'm not going to lie to you. And I really think that Kurt Angle, he probably had a better performance, to be honest with you. I mean, Kurt Angle was going crazy at this point. He always held himself to a higher standard than anyone else, and this man's matches really showed it for you, because if you look at all his Mania matches, all his matches in general, this man was a banger machine. Time and time and time and time again, he had great matches with anyone. I wish I could say a match like Kurt Angle and The Undertaker, but I happened to No Way Out. For some reason, they didn't want to do it at WrestleMania. I don't know why, but they decided not to do it. But Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels, one of the all-time great matches, 30 minutes back and forth. You have to go watch this match. Some of these other matches, you don't have to go back. You have to watch this match. If you don't watch this match, you're going to go to bed on the wrong side of the pillow and it's going to be warm. Well, that wraps up the list for the matches you guys gave me on TikTok and Instagram. If you guys would like to be part of a video like this, follow my socials, Instagram, TikTok, it's all in the trunk. You'll see it on YouTube. Subscribe down below. We really need that a lot. And if you wanted to ask me one match that came to mind, I don't know if it's my favorite Wrestlemania match, but a great match is Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles. I was thinking about it the other day. That's an all-time classic match. I don't really know what my favorite WrestleMania match is. That's honestly a tricky one for me. I mean, I love The Rock and Cena from 29 just because I was there. My favorite wrestler, Bayley, she wrestled EO last year, and I thought that was an awesome match. But maybe that's my favorite WrestleMania match. We'll go with that. You know, I know you might be like, oh, she's just your favorite, you're biased, blah, blah, blah. But again, it's mine, so I don't care. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're new to the channel, subscribe down below, leave a like, comment as well, follow the socials, join the Discord for any new updates on me, my content, and anything else. And we're going to chat wrestling, basketball as well in there, so make sure you add it. It'll be linked in the description, and we'll see you for the next one. Peace. I'm out.